Hello, it's Kate McDowell from Align Natural Health. And I'm jumping on with you today because I wanted to talk to you about heartburn. This is something that has come up a lot recently for clients that we've been working with. And it's something that's often misunderstood both by many doctors and by clients as well. And it doesn't make sense what's actually often happening in the body. A lot of the times, the assumption when someone is dealing with heartburn is that they have too much stomach acid. Makes sense, right? Because it's splashing up into your esophagus, which is giving you that burning sensation after you eat something or when you lay down at night to go to bed. And it can be when you're eating acidic foods and eating foods that are not sensitive or not gentle on the stomach. But the problem is that most of the time for people, it's not a case of having low or having high stomach acid. It's actually the opposite, which seems counterintuitive, but I'll explain a bit more. So, the assumption you have high stomach acid. As adults, we typically don't. There are cases where that can be a situation if you're dealing with high levels of H. pylori, which is a bacteria, then you can have elevated stomach acid. But for the most part, that's not the case, especially if you're over 30, over 40, or even beyond that, which is when people tend to have more problems with this. Stress can cause an increase in heartburn. There's some lifestyle factors as well that can cause an increase in heartburn. Nutrition definitely plays a role here as well. If you're drinking a lot of alcohol, if you're drinking a lot of caffeine, especially or coffee, especially in the evening, this can lead to more heartburn as well. But this is basically, I'm going to try and demonstrate it for you. This is essentially what's happening. In our stomach, we actually have basically, it's like a trigger. It's an acid level trigger. So when your stomach acid gets to a certain level, it triggers the door on the top of your stomach called the esophageal sphincter to close. So if this is your stomach, my water bottle, and this is your esophagus, when there's enough stomach acid in your stomach, there's a trigger scent that puts the lid on the top. So then, as you're eating and as your stomach is churning the food and churning the digestive enzymes and the stomach acid and breaking things down, the stomach acid doesn't like leak out into your esophagus, causing the heartburn. But the problem is when our stomach acid is low, this trigger is not released. So the stomach acid is not causing the door to close. This is empty intentionally. I'm sitting in front of my computer and a friend suggested me put water in it and spray it all over, which I may do eventually. But if your stomach acid is low enough that this is not closing and the stomach is doing the churning and doing, what it's supposed to be doing, that can cause the acid to splash up into the esophagus. So while it makes sense conceptually to think my stomach acid must be high because I'm having the heartburn sensation, there must be too much that's flooding up into my esophagus. It's actually quite commonly the opposite. Typically, your stomach acid is too low, which is causing the lid to not close. So the acid is allowed to freely splash up into your esophagus whenever it wants. If you also think about going to bed at night, this is a time where a lot of people have a problem with heartburn that struggle with this because you lay down, there's no lid. And so now the stomach acid is really able to flow up into the esophagus and cause that burning sensation, cause the coughing or the gurgling feeling. That's not a very nice feeling. So this is where a lot of the times doctors will look at this and say, okay, your stomach acid is too high. And the treatment that's typically recommended is something to reduce acid in the stomach. So that could be a proton pump inhibitor or another medication that's going to reduce the amount of acid in your stomach. But ultimately, then this is open all the time. This is why people who are on the proton pump inhibitors or other acid reflux or stomach acid related medications will often still deal with heartburn and still be looking for solutions. So, this is where a lot of the times working with clients, something that we find really beneficial is to actually help them with getting their bodies to produce some more stomach acid or doing things like drinking a few teaspoons or a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in water before meals can be beneficial because that can help the body break things down. You can also do a little bit of lemon water in meals. And in emergency situations, the go-to for heartburn, I totally am guilty of this. In the past, I used to pop them like candy because they're over the counter, they're easy to get, and that was Tums, which a lot of the times people will turn to because it's not a comfortable feeling. I get that. I get that. I do. But in an emergency situation, a better solution for you would be like a half a teaspoon of baking soda in water before your meals or when you're having like a flare up of acid reflux. Because what the Tums are going to do is they're going to cause more nutrient deficiencies in your system as well. So ultimately, like any other medication, medications aren't dealing with the cause. They aren't dealing with why you have these symptoms in the first place. They're just suppressing them, which, makes the heartburn go away for a short period of time, but they always have a side effect. And that could be nutrient deficiencies, that could be other impacts in the body as well. And so this is why quantum nutrition testing is really beneficial because we do educate. We do have conversations with clients all the time saying, like, okay, so you've been dealing with heartburn for a long time. You've been on this medication. You're still dealing with issues. The problem hasn't been resolved. So let's figure out why. Why are you dealing with these issues? What's the cause? And what does your body need to get back into balance? Because when we work on finding the cause of things, when we work on figuring out what's going on with your body that's making you have the symptoms that you're having, we're able to come up with a solution for you that's actually going to help you get better, that's actually going to resolve the situations. So, because this is something I've heard a lot of recently, I really wanted to share this with you because I know it's something that a lot of people deal with. And if heartburn is something that you've learned to live with or you've dealt with for an extended period of time, we can help. You can grab the link. I'll drop the link in comments. Sign up for your initial consult. It's 2 calls with us, 2 30-minute calls where we go through everything that's going on with you. We find the cause, and then we talk about how we can work towards a solution with you and help you get over it. So if this is something you'd like help with, reach out anytime. I'd be more than happy to help. But hopefully you learned something from this. If you have any questions about heartburn, I know this was a really quick one. If you have any questions about heartburn, drop them below. I'd be more than happy to answer them. I'm here to educate. I want to help people understand that there's so many things we can do for our health in terms of nutrition, in terms of some lifestyle changes that ultimately are going to improve our quality of life. And make it so that we can stay healthy for longer and deal with less situations, less symptoms over time. So reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, grab the link in comments. Book your first call with us. Today is the last day of January, so it's the last day of our new client special. It's currently 129 for the first 2 calls and your full round of quantum nutrition testing. The regular price on this is $200. So today's your last day to grab that. And if you have any questions, reach out anytime. And otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day.